Joining me now, Melik Abdul, a Republican political strategist, Ben Weingarten, senior contributor at The Federalist. Good to have both of you with us. Melik, I want to start with you. Again, it's, when you cut through all the fake news coverage here, President Trump saw what happened in Minneapolis in 2020, and it seems to me that he just didn't want that to happen in Los Angeles. Am I missing something here?
Well, you know what? I'll one-up you on Minneapolis. I think that Donald Trump saw what happened on our upper West Coast, Northwest, what was that, Portland, Occupy Portland, or wherever that was. I think that was in Portland. I think he saw, not just there, but of course, as you said, in Minneapolis and many other places around the country, back in 2020, where these liberal Democrats, basically many of these areas were run by Democrats, where they allowed rioters space to actually riot. So I'm not convinced that looting stores, I don't know. Does Hermes store have anything to do with immigration? No, but it did back in 2020. We saw many people during the Black Lives Matter protests doing things like looting. And as your graphic shows here, burning vehicles. That has nothing to do with immigration. It has to do with opposition to Donald Trump and his policies, which actually are more popular.
Ben, they looted a sushi store. I just don't understand that at all. And apparently, according to John Huddy, a cannabis store, which I guess sort of would make sense, but clearly nobody's smoking because everybody's still riled up. I feel bad for these people. I feel bad for these small business owners. It seems as though their government has failed them specifically.
They're living in a failed state, but to the progressives and I guess the socialists and communists and Hamasniks and reconquistadors on the ground, it's a successful one where you allow America and particularly California to be invaded by illegal aliens. There is no law and order, and there is no sense of civilization, essentially. It's not a functioning society at this point. So, of course, it's incumbent upon federal authorities to restore law and order when you have the state and local authorities who are systematically hell-bent on disbanding order. It is an absolute travesty and tragedy for citizens, for law-abiding, for everyday Americans who live in places like Los Angeles that have to put up with this. And that's precisely why the federal government, via the Trump administration, is using every lever of authority possible to restore order and to restore sovereignty. It's incumbent upon the administration to do it, and it has a mandate to do it. It's right on the merits, and it's right on the politics as well.
Guys, I want to watch this. Let's watch this comment from Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass.
This was not needed. The idea that the administration would usurp the authority of our state government, take it away from our governor, Gavin Newsom. The governor knows that if we put a request in for the National Guard and it went to him, he would comply. There was never an issue there because we were never thinking about calling upon the National Guard.
Here's what concerns me, Melik. We now know that Mayor Karen Bass spent some time in communist Cuba, and you'll wonder if she's employing some of the things she learned there on the streets of Los Angeles right now.
I think they're just running for cover at this point. They're trying to rationalize why the federal government shouldn't be involved here. And again, we saw what happened back in 2020. But what I would like Karen Bass and many of the Democrats and those in the Trump resistance to fully understand is that not according to me, not according to you, but according to CNN, the recent poll from CNN found that 54%, I think it was 54% of Americans agree what Donald Trump is doing as far as deportations. About 51% of Americans do agree that ICE agents should go into towns in search of illegal immigrants. Donald Trump, over and over again, polls have consistently shown, this isn't one poll, polls have consistently shown that Donald Trump, when it comes to his immigration policies, he is in step, not out of step with the American people. So whether it's Karen Bass, whether it's Kamala Harris, or even Gavin Newsom at this point, Donald Trump is doing the exact thing that he said he was going to do. And the American people at this point, they are not siding with Democrats because Donald Trump himself is 20 points higher on the issue of immigration since 2016. Take that, Karen Bass.
Well, wow. All right. Ben, look, Democrats aren't stupid. I mean, Jim Carville is not a stupid guy. He's annoying, but he's not stupid. And they see the same polling data that Melik was just talking about. So why are they ignoring these 80-20, or in this case, I think it's more of a 90-10 issue? They are on the wrong side of every single one of these issues.
Well, certainly it shows you that at least among the California cohorts, they take for granted their voters. And in part, they've driven out the voters who would be the opposition to these lawless policies. I think you're right, by the way, to note Karen Bass standing in solidarity with her comrades. And the bottom line is that the party has been overtaken by its progressive, radical, intersectional, allied acolytes. I wrote a book about this back in 2020 on Ilhan Omar, saying that she personified the future, if not the present, of the party. That is exactly where they are. They are in hock to their radical leftist base, even though it means they're going to lose potentially at a national level, certainly. And so I agree. The question is why? Why are they willing to do things that are not in their own political self-interest? And the only logical conclusion I can come to is that they think they're going to replace American voters with the invaders that they've essentially allowed in by the millions in recent years. That is the only logical conclusion.
Yeah, I think you're right. Guys, we're going to have to leave it there. Melik Abdul, Ben Weingarten, gentlemen both, thank you. Appreciate you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.